Beethoven's Second Piano Concerto it's really a wonderful piece, and what always strikes me as so amazing about it, it's actually the first. Don't know the story of why it was published second, but it is certainly the first concerto he wrote. And it strikes me as incredible because, Mozart had just written, 27 piano concertos not long at all before that, and they're so extraordinary and so perfect and so imaginative and so compelling. It's already amazing that anyone bothered writing another piano concerto at all. But what's so amazing about the Beethoven is that he assimilated Mozart's style so completely. It has, it's in a sense almost an imitation, and yet it's so characteristic that it's like it's got his thumbprints all over it. I mean, you hear the admiration for Mozart and Mozart's style in the piece, but you can't listen to one phrase without knowing, oh yes, that's Beethoven. I guess maybe that's the mark of the greatest composers, is that you will never be confused about who's writing the pieces. I mean, it's especially remarkable for me because even though they're historically close together, I don't think there are any two more different composers than Mozart and Beethoven. I mean, Beethoven is always shaking his fist at the heavens all the time, and yet this piece has a kind of a gentleness and sort of an ease with the world, which is maybe not so typical of his music. The other thing which I think is so interesting about the Second Piano Concerto is that it's very much an early piece. It's I don't want to say it's a light work because that sounds like a shortcoming, and I certainly don't mean it that way, but it's certainly not one of his more confrontational pieces. But it's got this cadenza in the middle of the first movement, which he wrote 20 some years later, which is so fascinating because it's like you're getting his thoughts about this piece at a completely different time of his life, and when he was writing music that was utterly different from the piece. So it begins with this flourish, which is barred from the beginning. Dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. It's like he immediately takes off from that and goes on these wild adventures, which are so completely different from in motivically, but also just in terms of style and character from the rest of the piece. And it's like you get this really window into the mind of a much more developed composer. And then it's over, and it's like we're back in the early Beethoven world again. Having played all 5 of them a lot, it's so interesting for me to see the starting point. One shouldn't think of it as an immature work just because it's early. It's fully formed and completely delightful.